I have always been comfortable in unsettled situations. The more chaotic the environment, the more I thrived. Throughout my life, I've always easily navigated through turmoil and confusion to figure out what needed to be done to fix or correct a given situation. I'm also used to being in control, and I've always been able to have or find the answers. This past year, the coronavirus forced me into a new reality. I found out that I'm not in control as much as I thought, and I do not have the answers as much as I believed. The more I looked, and searched, and scrapped, the more I was confronted with another truth. Sometimes there just are no answers. Instead of being able to guide myself and others through this chaos, I was forced to hole up, be patient, and somehow be comfortable with all this. The first few weeks of the corona storm were not too difficult. With great passion and energy, I seized control. I increased my cycling, riding nearly 200 miles or more every week. I started reading books at a greater pace than previously. I even began to experiment with cookie recipes, which is a scary proposition since I don't bake or make desserts. I even turned off the TV. Eventually, my obsession with figuring out or predicting when the lockdown would end was creating a long, dark shadow, and it was expanding rapidly. Even though I was trying to let go and focus on having a healthy mindset, I found myself in the middle of a losing battle. One afternoon, I started focusing on a series of questions which interrupted my growing, unhealthy thoughts. What if I was meant to be here in this very moment? What if there was no way out? What if it was okay not having anywhere to go? What if all I needed to do was quietly sit in this space and discover what's in it for me? Not moving forward, just sit in this space, learn from being in it, be okay with all that? I don't know about you, but this sounds contrary to everything I believed or learned about perseverance, determination, about defying the odds of accomplishment, how to break through the barriers of fear and doubt and failure to accomplish great outcomes. After years of being hardwired to ignore and overcome all obstacles, to seize the day and accomplish great things, it was nearly impossible for me to imagine sitting in this space and ceding control, despite the recurring reality that I didn't have any good ideas, or insightful answers, or the ability to change the situation anyway. When the lockdown kicked in, I was already in a year-long battle of doubt, despair, and failure. I was dealing with my own self-inflicted struggle with a lack of direction, success, and inspiration. Prior to the lockdown, I had been engaged in my own version of social distancing, more appropriately defined as self-protection. I was isolating myself so I would be safe from my own experiences of failure and disappointment. Ironically, once forced into this isolation, I wanted out, even though I had no idea where I would go or what I would do. Most likely, I would have gone on a road trip to run away from the realities I was now struggling with. Before COVID hit, I was already feeling useless, lost, failing. Now lockdown added to it the grim reality of being trapped or stuck with my dark emotions. For an impatient, driven, results-oriented individual who usually finds success no matter what, this was a dangerous time. Throughout my ordeal, and again as I was forced into the lockdown, there was one little quote embedded in a verse which resonated with me in very powerful ways. It was a call to action, an opportunity for personal growth. And every time I heard it, I paused, soaked it in, and then returned to my ongoing battle. Yet it was relentless. It kept showing up. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? unforced rhythms. No tension, no anxiety, peace. In complete harmony with the cadence of my soul in the environment around me. Doesn't it sound perfect? Isn't this life as we dream it? Even though this message relentlessly pursued me and resonated clearly with me as a call to action, I couldn't release myself to it. What was the problem? What was getting in the way of my simply embracing this? It was in direct conflict with a belief which until now had defined my entire life. It might even be something you've been told or believe in yourself. If you're not moving or growing, you're failing or falling behind. Every great accomplishment comes from the struggle and our ability to push through. Losers quit, quitters lose. If you think small, you play small. If you think big, you play big. I spent my entire life proving that I was capable of great outcomes by chasing and accomplishing big results. I continually challenged myself up, rarely enjoying any moment of accomplishment, even less often celebrating the outcome. Instead, I found fault or failure by believing I could have done better or should have done more. It got to the point where I wasn't even satisfied with any outcome. I was either disappointed with the result or ready to move on to the next big thing. After a while, not being able to celebrate anything or telling myself I wasn't making a difference in the way I measured success, I was confronted with another reality. I had convinced myself I wasn't good enough. I believe I had to prove it wrong by doing something others couldn't do, or impress them with the sheer tenacity of my will. This is what drove me. Unfortunately, the one person who needed to be impressed never was. That person always believed there was another mountain to climb, another battle to win, another adventure to seek out, another audience to impress. I had something to prove, except the person that needed to be impressed most was me. I stand here sharing something with you that I have sought to share for years. This talk, my life, has been a work in progress for at least the past 10 years. I have been on a spectacular transformational journey. I've been this close to understanding what it means to love yourself, to live your passion, and to be able to trust where you are with who you are. Every time I got close to trusting or accepting or believing, my dark personality would show up and let my fear drive me to chase after something like a big, hairy, audacious goal. What happened over the past years has been an unrelenting call to action. The lockdown brought me to a fork in the road where I had to decide whether I could trust what I knew to be true about me, my gifts, my purpose, and my passion. To trust what I love and know, trust what I have learned, to trust what I believe, and be comfortable sitting in this quiet space, knowing I had nothing to prove. To celebrate my journey and learn from being exactly where I am with who I am, and be at complete peace with that. It was time to learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I was terrified of letting go, terrified of trusting it. Instead, I hid out. I engaged in all sorts of mental gymnastics and fought my fears while trying to trust this truth. I may not have all the answers. I don't have nearly as much control as I thought I did. But I do know this. I don't have to declare, pursue, or seek out doing anything big just to prove to anyone, especially myself. The gift of me is simply me being me. All I need to do is quietly sit in this space to discover what is there for me, to embrace and share my experiences and be at peace with that. Are you fighting your own prove-it demons? Have you found yourself trying to prove to you or others how powerful, talented, determined, or capable you are? Are you creating or chasing big goals you feel compelled to go after, yet you have no idea why? Or are you caught up in the fear or doubt as to where your next big idea will lead, or how it will turn out, or what will happen if you quit? What if you are exactly where you need to be with who you are? What if it's okay for you to just sit in this space, soak it in, and see what's there for you? What if you don't need to do anything to prove to anyone who you are? What if you are enough right now? Maybe it's time. Time to let go, relax, and sit quietly in the moment to see what's there for you. Maybe it's time. Time for you to learn the unforced rhythms of grace.